Welcome to another episode of Breaking Mayberry, the show where two guys watch the Andy Griffith Show in hopes of understanding America and ourselves. I'm Marty Schneider.
I'm Dan Ludwig. That got nice and wholesome at the end.
It really did. The real Andy Griffith was inside you all along.
The Andy Griffith was the friends we made along the way.
As always, please remember, if you're going to watch these episodes along with us, you can watch them on Amazon Prime, on Netflix. Most of these episodes are available on YouTube. And the episodes we're talking about today are both from Bluffin' Bob Sweeney, the most notorious card shark this side of the Mississippi.
Disbarred lawyer Bob Sweeney.
They are Season 1, Episode 15 and 16, Those Gossipin Men, and The Beauty Contest. Both of these written by Jack Ellison and Charles Stewart, or Charles Stewart and Jack Ellison, depending on, the week.
Yeah.
And so, this is actually a good combo, right? So, both same director, same writers, and they're kind of our,
Neither of them are a great episode, but they work really well together, as a combo.
I'm gonna disagree. I think The Beauty Contest is great. I love that episode.
I'm a little more lukewarm on it than you. You were, really excited for this one, and I was sort of a little more lukewarm. I warmed up more to Those Gossipin Men. I hated Those Gossipin Men the first time I watched it, and then the second time, just really focusing on Aunt B and her vengeance. It's way more fun to watch. Just to see Aunt B absolutely dunk on Andy Griffith for an entire episode.
Let's just jump straight into this. Okay. As always, I will read the one-sentence Wikipedia description. Episode 15, Those Gossipin Men, which aired January 16th, 1961. And for some reason, I keep using JFK as the marking point, because not a whole lot of interesting stuff happened in late 1960, early 1961. But JFK is about to be sworn in. That's where we are.
It was just a nice hazy daydream until his assassination.
Yeah, that's where we are. He's going to be sworn in 4 days. So picture yourself in 1961. You're watching the Andy Griffith Show. This is what's about to approach you, and you're going to have a brand new president in 4 days. One sentence Wikipedia summary for Those Gossipin Men. Aunt B sets out to prove that men are bigger gossips than women. This is actually a 3-sentence summary. Mm-hmm. The men spread a rumor that a visiting shoe salesman, actor Jack Finch, may actually be a talent scout. The salesman is puzzled when townspeople individually come to his hotel room to perform for him.
That sounds way more sexual than the Wikipedia entry intended it to.
Also, yeah, way to do our job, Wikipedia entry.
Yeah.
Next episode.
This is the casting couch episode of the Andy Griffith Show.
Okay, so, Those Gossipin Men opens up with Aunt B hanging out at Walker's drugstore, along with a couple of other women, including frickin' Emma.
Emma, who is just, the worst person, the most annoying human character I've ever witnessed. Just she takes normal lines and just through that nightmare cadence of a voice just turns them into hell sounds.
I mean, congratulations to character actress Cheerio Meredith for just creating this unholy demon of a woman.
Her voice sounds like a bird caught in a car engine. It sounds like something dying by, a gruesome crushing that just never quite ends. Is that her actual voice, or is she just such a good actress that she's able to do that with her vocal cords?
I can't imagine that a woman named Cheerio Meredith has that voice naturally.
We gotta bring that name back.
We gotta find her. Hunting for Cheerio.
People need to start naming their children Cheerio again. That fucking rules.
Okay, so they're hanging out in the drugstore. Aunt B, it's Emma, and another woman, Clara Lindsay.
Yeah,
again, I'm using the ultra-reliable Mayberry Wiki.
This guy is so on his game. He's naming characters who have, no, speaking lines.
And they're just talking shit about just another woman who's not in the room.
Yeah, about her unnatural hair color.
Yeah, just she can't, her roots came straight from a bottle, and she's just doing it so that she can hook up with that mail carrier.
Yeah, no, they, it starts out as, shit-talking that is wildly outdated because all women dye their hair at some point or another now, right?
Yeah,
that's super normal. Yeah. And Jen just, suddenly veers into calling her a slut.
Yeah,
and it's Emma that does it. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, she dyes her hair. And then Emma's like, also she's doing it to fuck a mailman.
Oh, and my favorite part is they talk about, they noticed it when she came into church, because that's where your social life revolves around. Going to church and then gossiping at the drugstore, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the punchline of this is that Mr. Walker, not Ellie's uncle, rings up her total, and it's like she got baking soda and toothpaste and peroxide.
Yeah.
And Emma, I'll put the clip in here, she's like...
Anybody who'd give Millie a second look would know those blonde tips came straight from a bottle. I declare, it's disgusting the way some women try to be what they aren't.
Here you are, Emma. I'll put it on your bill. It comes to $1.34. 60 cents for toothpaste, 29 cents for rubbing alcohol, 45 cents for peroxide.
I only use it for gargling. I'm one person that doesn't try to hide her age. I'm in my 40s and I admit it.
I only use it for gargling. In this really weird, like a old-timey witch, stirring a cauldron kind of voice.
Again, she manages to do something with her vocal cords that, she says gargling in a way that sounds like she is doing an ancient prayer that was been forgotten by mankind to a god that we threw into space. It is something nightmarish that she is doing.
I hate this character.
She's
I hate her so much.
And she's going to be around forever. And we've chained our lives to a show in which we have regular exposure to her.
Okay.
There are 12 seasons, and she's probably not going to die until 6.
But here's where the crux of the episode shows up. Barney wanders in because... Andy comes in.
Andy wanders in to get...
sulfa powder or something?
Some powder that you put on a cut to disinfect it.
Yeah, something like that.
And Barney cut his finger doing...
Cleaning his gun.
Cleaning his gun!
Yeah.
Yes! Barney cut his finger cleaning his gun... how?
Yeah.
I admittedly, I have not cleaned any guns in my life, but they don't seem to be that sharp.
Here's my question. How often do you need to clean a gun that doesn't get fired?
I think often, as all action movies yell at you all the time, you need to constantly be cleaning your gun.
You definitely need to be cleaning your gun or, taking on a whole bunch of broken glass and bullet stuff with no problem, but wince the instant that the heroine tries to clean your cut.
Yeah. No, literally any movie where an old man who is a badass, shows up, he's like, the difference between me and you is that you don't clean your gun properly, and I do.
I don't think he actually, cuts himself that badly, right?
He nicks the side of his finger. Yeah. It is such a small cut that when he tries to show it to Andy later, Andy can't find it.
Right.
Yeah. Andy goes in to get this weird-ass powder that is accepted as a cure-all for cuts. He picks it up, and it sets off a chain reaction of gossip, where the initial women, Aunt B, Emma, the other lady, start wondering if maybe he's hurt himself more than that.
Right, because Aunt B, not Aunt B, Emma finds it very suspicious that Andy ran all the way over here because of a little scratch. And even the druggist is like, what do you mean all the way over here? It's across the street. And also, we're Mayberry.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as all the way over anywhere.
You can literally throw a rock at any building in Mayberry from any other building. And also, of course, Barney would send Andy to get
sulfa powder.
Sulfa powder for him for a very small cut. It's Barney.
Right. Yeah. Barney is always at, high alert.
Yes. Barney is very easily wounded and rendered unable to leave a building. But yeah, it kicks off this chain reaction where, from these three women, there's a bye-bye birdie phone tree.
Right.
And with each successive,
phone call
to
women
old,
in the neighborhood.
Yeah, Barney's injury is more and more grievous. He made a massive gash on his arm.
He cut his hand clear off somehow.
At one point, he rips out his arm.
Yeah.
And then it eventually escalates to Barney Fife has shot himself in the chest.
Yeah, Barney's dead.
Yeah, Barney is, it is eventually a common consensus in town that Barney Fife has managed to accidentally shoot himself in the chest, which, totally feasible that Barney could do that.
Sure.
100%. I would not question that. How do you accidentally, you can accidentally kill yourself by shooting yourself a lot of ways. The chest is such a weird pick.
I guess if you're leaned over a desk where you're cleaning your weapon?
I guess if you're, pointing it directly at your chest while polishing the trigger.
Which, again, Barney,
yep, totally 100% feasible that he could do this.
So we cut to Barney and Andy just hanging out at the jailhouse, as is their job, and Barney starts getting phone calls.
Condolence calls to Andy, people telling him how sorry they are for his loss of his deputy.
Yeah. And Barney is the one answering these calls. At one point in time, Orville comes over, because we all know Orville's a funeral director. And Orville's like, well, it's time for me to, and he freaks out because there's Barney.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
And
second time a man has come back from the dead. Yeah.
And Orville is, so gleeful to be, picking up Barney's corpse. He's he's vulturous. He's like, hello there.
I've been waiting for this day to come.
Ooh, I'm going, and then, once finding out that Barney is alive, he just sort of awkwardly steps back. He's like, I'd already pulled up a hearse with a coffin in it for you.
He's so mad that he doesn't get to bury Barney.
Yes, he's, I can't tell if it's, if it's just loss of money, if he's just being, a money-grubbing vulture, or if he's, ooh, another corpse.
Well, remember, there's so little business for him because this town is so small. He moonlights as a television repairman.
Yes.
So I'm sure that he's just excited for any business. But also, I'm sure, he kind of looks around and be like, well, most of this town is 100 years old. All the rest that aren't are idiots. So I'm going to be rolling in the dough any minute now.
Yeah, it's a long-term investment.
Orville's playing the long game with that.
Eventually, there's just going to be it seems like 50% of Mayberry's population is over 70. So at one point, Mayberry is just going to become a ghost town.
Yeah, absolutely. So Andy goes home, and he and Aunt Bee are having a conversation where he starts to tease her. And he's like, well, do you hear that there's a rumor going around that Barney shot himself? And Aunt Bee's like, how did that happen? And Andy doesn't take shit. He's just like, you know damn well how that happened.
Yeah, just you started it. There were 3 people when I've told 3 people about Barney's injury, and it was you, Emma, and other lady.
Clara.
I will not remember her name out of principle.
Okay.
You, Emma, and other lady. And then suddenly he got shot in the chest. I wonder how it happened, Aunt Bee. Great
detective work on Andy's part. Really.
Yeah. And it just, really, drills into her, and then gets very sexist. Barney is also there to just sort of, join in on the sexism. He's sort of the hype man for Andy's sexism, where Andy is, he has the line that really, sets Aunt Bee off of, men are also capable of gossip, but we don't seem to have your God-given talent for it. And then Barney's just like, yeah, your God-given talent. Just
he's the hype man.
Yeah, he's just behind.
Fuck him up, Andy!
Tear into her! Tear into her!
And Aunt Bee is her line is according to you, the Lord made 2 sexes, men and blabbermouths. And Andy's just yeah.
Yeah! Andy's thank you for setting that up for me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I don't even have to insult you this time. You did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Aunt Bee is fuming. Andy has been a massive sexist at her. Barney is elated because Barney is basically happy anytime Andy is a sexist.
Also, he's very happy that he's not dead.
Yeah. Barney does have a great, right after this, him and Andy start joking around about Barney's death.
Oh, no. Andy is joking about Barney's death. Barney is not happy about this at all.
No, Barney is initially like, yeah, people think I'm dead. And Andy's like, yeah, I'm talking to a dead man. And Barney's like, all right, stop it. Stop it. This is fucked up. I'm no longer on this. You're making fun of my open grave. Like, just like slowly stops being on board with this line of joking.
I actually really like that bit. It's really funny.
Edit that bit in. It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
You did.
You think I'd know it if I shot myself in the chest with you? That's smart.
I think so. They had you all laid out, didn't they?
Imagine that, the dumb bunnies.
And so now you're dead.
Yeah.
I mean, no, you couldn't have been very old.
No.
Well, they say only the good die young.
That's right.
Well, yesterday you looked so healthy.
Yeah, felt good.
Yeah, yesterday laughing and happy, had everything in the world to live for. Yeah, well, yesterday laughing and happy, and today...
Actually, I don't think it's too funny.
For he was a jolly good pal.
No, I mean, when you stop to think about it, Andy, actually...
What was the matter?
Well, I mean, it's not a joking matter.
Well, we all have to go sometime.
I know, were you stopping, Andy?
Well, Barney, I was just funny.
Oh, yeah, you were fun, and you're funny, all right. You're a scream. You ought to get a job on one of those excursion boats.
Barney.
All right, so then this episode is so strangely structured because we're about to head into a completely different plot that is also related to this plot.
There is no rising action or falling action to this episode. It's just a wild spiral out of control. Like...
It's like they had like a Battle of the Sexes episode, but then they had like a Mistaken Identity episode, and then they smooshed them together.
Alright, so this factors into my thing that the Griffiths are a family of God-given con men. Like, they have a natural gift for conning.
I'm starting to think not just the Griffiths, I think it's the entire town of Mayberry. I think it's just a town of con men.
And
Chancers, confidence men.
This is really an episode about Aunt B demonstrating her con supremacy over Andy. Because Andy can psychologically manipulate someone. Aunt B reaches into Andy's skull and uses a single phrase to make him dance like a puppet for the entire episode. Not just him. She uses a single phrase to reach into Andy's skull, make him dance, and then spread his madness throughout the entire town. Aunt B demonstrates her con supremacy.
She definitely brain fucks the entire town. Okay.
She is a master grifter, and this is basically her showing like, oh, you think you can con people, motherfucker? You haven't seen shit. Aunt B is about to show you how to dig into a person's brain and tear into it.
Fucking Animal Kingdom up in here.
Yeah.
All right, let's explain to the audience what we're actually talking about.
Okay.
Aunt B and she doesn't go home. She goes to the drugstore. So she and Emma are sitting there complaining about how sexist Andy has been,
soothing their fevered tempers over a nice root beer float,
as is the custom here, because they're a dry county.
Yeah.
As
we're going to be discussing later on.
Yeah. And they're complaining, and even Aunt B is just like, okay, you gotta admit, they had a point. Like, we do gossip a lot. And Emma's like, we don't gossip, we just spread information. Sometimes we tell these stories. And Aunt B's whole thing is, she's mad because the men gossip just as much, she says. There are just as many stories coming out of Floyd's barbershop as there are from our, sewing circle meetings. And... that's what's really making her mad. It's not that she's getting made fun of for being a gossip. It's that Andy insinuated it was a woman thing. I
mean, it's one of those old forms of bigotry where you call out a specific subsect on a moral failing that everyone has.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's on that specific subsect to prove that they don't do it when in reality everyone does it. Yeah.
So enter our special guest star, a guy no one's fucking heard of, Jack Finch.
Jack Finch, the saddest traveling salesman since Willy Loman.
I love this sad little, sack of a man.
Okay, so he makes his grand introduction by sitting at the counter, saying that he's passing through but going to stay for a little while, turning to Aunt B and saying, hey, you guys want to buy any shoes?
He's got this, really sad, gremlin in an old Bugs Bunny. Yeah, that's a ticket.
Do you guys want to buy any shoes?
Will you buy some shoes from me?
And then they're like, I mean, we weren't thinking of buying shoes. And he's like, no, why would you? Who wants to buy shoes?
Well, no one wants to buy any shoes.
Like, I think...
You probably got all the shoes you need. I love this pathetic little droopy dog man. He sucks and I love him.
From that scene alone, how little drive he has to sell shoes, I feel like the subtle implication was this guy was like, came to Mayberry to kill himself.
Yeah, this guy's gonna hang himself in Jason's motel.
Yeah, no, he was basically like, I've come to Mayberry to die. Might as well sell a shoe while I'm here. Do you want to buy one? No? It's fine. I'm not going to need to eat much longer.
Fuck me, right?
Yeah. Like, he is literally a suicidal shoe salesman rolls into town and gets caught up in Aunt Bee's scheme.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
So this dude is apparently from New York City. Bear that in mind, because it's going to be important in a minute. So this little, like, shoe salesman finishes his drink, goes, well, no one wants to buy shoes from me. And then he waddles off.
His head is barely poking out from the collar of his shirt. Like, it looks like he's, like, struggling to stand up all the way out of his suit.
So he wanders away, and Andy kind of comes in at the same time. And Andy's just curious, like, who was that? He's teasing Aunt Bee because he's like, bet you got a story about him too, right? Who is that guy, huh? And Aunt Bee says, all I know about him is that he was a shoe salesman from New York City. And then she, like, drops, like, 3 words, like, or was he?
Yeah, the viral phrase, the madness that spreads throughout Mayberry. She drops the thing of, like, kind of weird for a shoe salesman to be all the way out here. Why would a traveling salesman come through Mayberry? That's it. That is the extent of her interference. She's like, this is kind of weird, huh? And then just watches Andy dance.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And Andy just kind of sits there like, I guess it's not that weird. Although.
Like, but it nags at him.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, in fairness, like.
I mean, it makes sense, like, knowing how shitty of a shoe salesman he is that he has flamed out of every town for, like...
900 miles.
Yeah, just state after state of just failure. And he's finally, like, at the end of his rope in Mayberry, come for one final shoe salesman attempt before killing himself.
So Andy starts to think about this, and he leaves, and Emma asks, like, what did you just do? And Aunt Bee just flat out says, like, just watch.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some fun. I put that seed in there, and we're gonna see where this grows. Our next scene, they're at the barbershop?
They're at the barbershop.
Yeah.
And there's like the beginnings of rumblings of like, super weird that there's a shoe salesman in town. I think something's up with him. And
yeah, because Barney's the first person to be like, why would a shoe salesman from New York come all the way down here? They have feet in New York. Like, and
it is put to Jason, the hotel owner, to keep an eye on this traveling shoe salesman. Like, and he sort of like takes it really dutifully. He's like, yeah, I'll watch him. Yeah. Also, side note, it's always weird to see a person who's over 25 named Jason. It's always sort of unsettling.
Jason it's a youth pastor name.
Yeah, no, like, anytime a man over 25 is named Jason, he should just constantly be flipping a chair around to, like, sit on it and then rap with you.
So, Jason is very, very on board with this. He's, like, almost deputized at this point.
Yeah.
And then our weird little sad sack man comes down and says one of the saddest and funniest lines I've ever. He's just like, Jason, could I have a television in my room? And Jason's like, I'm sorry, we don't have any televisions. And he just kind of like stares off into the distance and goes, oh, television is very important to me.
Yeah!
And it doesn't explain why.
No.
Then he just leaves.
Which, alright, is sad now. Think about how sad that was back then of like...
Television is very important to me.
There were like 7 TVs back then. Like,
and then he just leaves.
Yeah, and then he just wanders off. Like, just to not sell shoes. To like, he wanders off to find a lake, stare at it, and be like, well, this is my last day on Earth. I've come out to the middle of nowhere to be amongst nature.
and so and this is actually repeated. Like, by this point, all of the men in town are like wandering around, like, what is up with this dude? What's going on? Because they hear that Jason say that if television is important to him, and they kind of get together, and somewhere along the line, they get the idea that maybe this guy is a TV producer.
Yeah.
For not only is he a TV producer, but he's also a talent scout.
A motherfucker of a logical leap.
I can't even trace the steps that get them from just a guy who likes TV and is from New York. He must be a TV producer, because there's no other rational explanation that a dude could suck at selling shoes that bad. I gotta be honest, man. I've never sold shoes before, but I feel like if you gave me 900 miles of traveling, I feel like I could sell a few pairs of shoes to people.
Like, I feel like just trial and error. You could, like, if you literally just went person to person and was like, hey, you want to buy shoes? Statistically, someone would be like, yeah, actually.
Yeah,
Like, these are worn to hell. Like, but I feel like in the writer's room, there was a point where they had, like, 3 logic steps from this guy asked for a TV to he is a talent scout. And they were just like, listen, there's no time. None of this is funny. They're just going to go from point A to point Z. And the audience will back us up. It's the
underpants gnome's logic chart. Like, there's a big question mark in the middle of there. All right, and to back this up, after everybody thinks that he's already a television producer, there's another bit where, like, it's just a bunch of guys standing around, and he kind of crosses the street, and they're watching him cross the street, he being our sad sack man. He just kind of shows up, says something weird, and then leaves. He just shows up. I tried to rent a television across the street, but I couldn't get one. And then he leaves.
And then he's gone. He just shows up, is immensely sad, just like a cloud burst of sadness, and then bounces.
You know what he is? He reminds me of Strong Sad.
Yes! He is so, like, he is like a human avatar of sadness.
Oh, television is important to me.
Oh, God, yeah, no, it is a deeply sad statement. It's like, because he's like, it's all I have. These are my, like, he when he has a TV, he just, like, coaxes, like, hello, friends. How are you today, Gilligan? Was Gilligan's Island on at this point?
We're a couple of years away from Gilligan's.
What the heck? What shows were on?
Come to me, Donna Reed.
Yeah.
We do need to talk about the beaver.
Just like keeps his face really close to the TV. It's like, ha, that's a good thing you just said to us. Just like,
yeah, bang, zoom right to the moon with that, Alice.
Oh, this sure is a wacky scheme that we're in. Me and the honeymooners.
Alright, so...
It's the only thing getting him through the day.
So, now that the men of Mayberry all believe that this guy is a talent scout, the first person to come to his door, I believe, is Floyd with his son, right? Mm. Playing the saxophone?
Yes, the saxophone.
Yeah, and so... Floyd says that we're here to buy shoes, wink, wink. And this guy's just like, what?
He, like this sort of fortune is completely untold from him. And he's just kind of confused as to why there's a saxophone child, like, hanging out. Like,
I mean, he's not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. He's just like, okay, play the saxophone, whatever, kid.
Just, like, yeah, Floyd doesn't even offer any initial pretense for why his son has a saxophone. He's just like, hello, here's my son and his saxophone. I'd like to buy some, wink, shoes, please.
And so it goes. It happens, like, a bunch of times. We get to see Barney play the harmonica again.
They really like that.
For, like, the 7th time this season.
They love Barney Fife and that friggin' harmonica.
I don't get it. Was Don Knotts a good harmonica player?
I think just harmonicas were funny back then.
Is it like Steve Martin and the banjo?
Yeah, it was like just harmonicas, I think back then had like an inherent funniness that we've completely lost, where they're like, it's a tiny instrument that you blow on with your face. It's like a different instrument, but smaller. Like, I think, like...
But Steve Martin can actually play the banjo. He plays it very well. It was done...
Oh, is it that Barney sucks at the harmonica?
We don't know, because Barney's never played more than a few notes before someone makes him stop. I don't get it. Was that part of Don Knotts' thing, that he played harmonica? I don't understand. But they put that harmonica in his hand a bajillion times.
Honestly, you could probably have someone just, like, randomly, like, just who has no idea how to play the harmonica play one for me for, like, 20 minutes, and I'd be like, yeah, that was a pretty good jazz harmonica session you did. Like, I don't think I can tell the difference between good and bad harmonica.
That's fair. So this is what the men do. They, like, go completely nuts. I think they say that he sold like 65 pairs of shoes or something like that.
Some of the dudes bought multiple pairs of shoes, including Andy. Andy rolls in for and buys like 6 separate sets of shoes because he did 6 auditions.
Right, because remember, Andy loves to have Andy's the guitar guy at the party.
Yeah.
Like, he's always got his acoustic guitar out.
He's the Wonderwall motherfucker.
Yeah. So Andy played Free Fallin' for this guy a couple of times, and
as a result, like, this is just sort of a part where, like, there stops being any sort of an arc, and it's just a sequence of events. Like, it's a montage that just keeps going. Like,
this is all of Act 3, basically.
Yeah, it's literally just a list of the same thing happening over and over again with different characters, which you could just do back then. A montage could just be 7 scenes.
Yeah. I don't remember, like, any else that's important. So let's just
there's someone's kid. Like, there's another someone's kid. Yeah.
So let's skip to the part where now our, like, very happy young shoe salesman is loading up, and he's in his car, and he's like, well, time for me to go. I've sold my shoes.
Before he goes, he's on the phone with someone, and he's like, yeah, no, you're saying that I sold the most shoes anyone has ever sold in a single day? Well, you know how you say that a salesman has to have raw magnetism? I guess when people are kicking down your door to buy your shoes and also play you musical instruments, you must have that.
I wonder, like, I want to know what happens to this guy when he gets to the next town. When he gets to, like, Raleigh, Durham. Does he, like, now that his confidence is boosted, is he still a good salesman, or is he just going to wipe the hell out? Like, he's just going to fall flat on his face. And he's going to spend the rest of his life chasing Mayberry. He's going to be chasing that high. They've killed this man.
His sales strategy is going to be to tell one person that he sells shoes and then sit in his hotel room and wait for them to come because he thinks that's how you do that now. They've ruined this. I thought this was an uplifting story of Mayberry coming together as a group of goons to prevent a man's suicide, but they've given him one brief glimmer of hope before a meteoric downfall.
They've destroyed this poor man.
Oh my god!
So Andy, like, leans over the car window. This man is about to drive away, and he's just like, so. Do you think we got a lot of talent here in Mayberry? And the guy's just like, yep, sure do. Do you think that we're good enough to be on television? I think all of you are good enough to be on television. Bye! And he just drives off.
Also, alright, so as a side note, what was television back then? Was it literally like you turn on the TV and it's like, and next, some guy, and it's like just a person playing a guitar?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Was that like, it was just a list of people doing things? Because the town goes completely apeshit and just starts doing any talent they have at him. Was it just a series of talent shows?
You know how sometimes, like, local news will be like, meanwhile, Millie the water skiing squirrel is our, like, local interest story. That's for, like, the last 5 minutes of a local news program. That, but around the clock.
But, were they expecting that he was going to, call his boss and was like, hey, you know how you've been looking for a 16-year-old who can play the saxophone? I've got that hot sound you were looking for television.
They specifically think that he's a talent scout for a, like, specific talent show. They say it's like Manhattan Showtime, which my brain tells me is Manhattan Melodies, which is the show that they put on in Muppets Take Manhattan. But,
okay.
No, they think, again, in that little question mark period of where the hell they got this idea, they figure out that he's a talent scout for a specific talent show.
So TV back then was just talent shows.
The Gong Show was happening. I mean, TV...
Oh, the Gong Show makes sense because it's also...
a comedy thing.
People being mercilessly roasted by comedians.
To be fair, TV now is mostly talent shows. Talent shows are cheap and they draw big ratings.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Alright, so then he just drives off. He just goes...
Yeah, they're like, do you think any of us are good enough to be on TV? And he's like, I think all of you are good enough to be on TV. Goodbye. And like, that's the line that breaks the illusion. Like, and they're all just left devastated. And as Andy stands there, he looks up and Aunt B is across the street, and Aunt B just kind of goes, like, gives him a nod, like, yeah. That thing that just happened to you? I did that. And Andy's like,
what's that Game of Thrones bit like? I want her to know it was me.
Yeah. Like, you just got the Aunt B special, motherfucker. And
she basically does the Generation X suck it move.
Yeah. And Andy just like kind of like leans up and is like, you really got me. And I wanted like one of the side, I wanted Floyd just leave and be like, are you guys having a nice moment? Was this, did she prove some point to you? I bought 6 pair of shoes with money I don't have. This was my lottery ticket. Well, how am I supposed to explain this to my wife?
My son is very convinced that he's going to be on television. He sucks at the saxophone.
Your moral point has bankrupted the Floyd family and given my son hope that I now have to take away from him. Did the Griffiths have a good conversation about morality and gender? I bought 12 goddamn pair of shoes because I believed in my son. Just one of the people to be like, we are not pawns in your game.
Yeah, no,
these are lives. but and then it's followed. I thought like it was going to end with Aunt B just giving like a motherfucker look.
We need to really like call attention to Aunt B's stone cold grin.
Yeah,
she just gives him a grin and a nod. It's like fucking. The revelation of Kaiser Soze, like, at this point. Like, Andy drops the mug.
And, alright, and I thought it was going to end with that, but then, Andy is in the jail, just chin in his fists, like, just kind of, like, leaning on the desk, like, all sad, and Aunt B rolls in, and she says a lot of stuff, but the subtext is basically her going, like, oh, motherfucker, you thought you could manipulate someone? Did you just see what I did to you? Fuck you! Just basically, like, she just dunks on him.
She does a victory lap and a half.
Like, she's just, like knocking shit off his desk, like, fuck you, you just got Aunt B'd. Like, you think you run this town? I'm on your shit. I made you dance like a puppet with 3 words. That thing you accused me of doing, I made you do it to the letter, and I used less than a sentence.
Aunt B fucking kills it.
Aunt B dunks on Andy mercilessly. It rules. And she devastates the economy of the town in doing it. She spreads viral madness. Like,
it's terrifying, honestly.
Aunt B could level this town with a word if she chose to do so. They all exist in her palm.
Black-a-gar, be-a-gone.
Is that a fucking Black Bolt reference?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my god.
I'm Clint.
And I'm Jared.
And we're the hosts of the podcast Alcohollywood,
your source for inebriation.
Which you're not listening to right now, because this is just a promo for a weekly podcast on all kinds of movies. New, old, good, bad.
Yeah, especially bad.
Plus, we invent a cocktail and a drinking game inspired by each film.
And sometimes we make jokes. Not this time, but sometimes.
Subscribe to us on your favorite podcatcher and check out the whole shebang at alcohollywood.com.
Okay. On to the beauty contest, which has a lot to unpack.
Beauty contest airs January 23rd, 1961. Here's our one-sentence summary from Wikipedia. Andy is made sole judge of a beauty contest. Again, let's go ahead and say how weird that is. He's the only judge of the beauty contest.
I feel like this issue illustrates why that never happens for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy is made sole judge of a beauty contest, and the townspeople pester him by promoting their favorite contestants.
So, I can't tell if this episode really, really effectively illustrates why beauty pageants are creepy, and I can't tell if it's doing that on purpose or by accident.
Now, I do want to point out, before we begin, this is the episode that made me go, oh, I get it. This is the episode where I was like, oh, this is what everyone talks about when they talk about the Andy Griffith Show. It's a dated, but it is just like a pure-hearted, very kind of a sweet episode with some very silly bits about like eccentric characters. This is the one where like we're 13 fucking episodes deep now. We're like halfway through the season, and this is the first time where I was like, this is the Andy Griffith Show that we hear of.
See, this episode really creeps me out, but it creeps me out in a way that I can't really fault it for, because it's creepy in a way that just modern life is creepy, because it's a bunch of people basically going up to Andy and being like, do you find my daughter sexually attractive? Tell me which of my 3 daughters you find the hottest. It's literally people parading their nieces, daughters, girlfriends, and wives before Andy Griffith.
Which is also like how beauty pageants work.
Yeah, no, which is like, I can't really like fault it for that, because we haven't shaken that creepy aspect of our society.
And Andy handles it probably the best way possible.
Really? Because Andy mercilessly roasts several women.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah, Andy calls several women ugly throughout this episode. Do you want to validate his actions?
Okay, I'm gonna
He literally says at one point, I can't give her much points for looks, but I can give her points for muscles, because she's able to lift a bag of flour very effortlessly.
Okay, let's go to the actual conversation here.
Let's dig into it.
So, okay, we open up on a town council meeting, and this time, the town council consists of Andy, Ellie, Floyd, and some dude.
Yeah, some motherfucker! It's literally whoever is in the room.
Some guy?
And just my favorite little pug of a man, the mayor, who I feel like anytime he's not on screen, just has his hands stuck in 2 jars. Like he's just banging 2 pickle jars together like, damn it!
So they're in a room.
The town is run by Winnie the Pooh.
They're in the room. They're in the mayor's office, and they're planning no, I'm sorry, I skipped a scene. The first scene is in Floyd's barbershop.
Yeah.
Andy enters Floyd's barbershop, and he's like, well, Floyd, it's time for me to sign you up for the annual town fair.
He says,
give me some money.
It's time for your donation, and Floyd goes, I guess I don't have a choice, do I? And Andy just goes, no, you don't. For a little a sinister moment of Andy's power, where he's just like, give me your money, Floyd. And he's like, I guess I'll place an advertisement I don't at all need. That's fine.
Yeah. Why does the only barber in town need to advertise anything?
He's been openly established as a terrible barber that people only use because he's their only option. Yeah.
So Floyd says, all right, well, here's my donation. I'll buy an advertisement for Floyd's barbers, whatever.
It's basically a shakedown.
Yeah, he gets shaken down. And then Floyd is like, so is it the same stuff we do every year? Like the fair and the dance and all that stuff. And he's like, yep, we're going to have all the free watermelons. It's going to be a good time, blah, blah, blah. Southern phrases.
Yeah, good as a peach on a dog's ass. Like some shit like that. He says some stupid fucking phrase.
And then they say, I wish we could come up with something original for the ending. Because I guess every year the mayor's wife rides out on a horse and sings some opera shit. Is she the Valkyrie? Did she do the spear and magic helmet kind of shit?
I really think she's just singing on a horse. I think it's nothing. I think she's doing that times equivalent of Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On." She's just singing whatever the hell she feels like.
All right, so
Andy basically says something to the effects of, "If I have to hear her sing one more goddamn time, I'm going to lose my mind." And
fortunately for them, the mayor is also on their side.
No, okay. So it's basically he's standing right behind me, isn't he, bit where he's like, if I have to hear the mayor's wife sing on a horse one more time, she's the worst singer. She's just screaming on a horse. And Floyd's like, Andy, Andy, and then the mayor takes off a towel, and it's been him in the barber's chair the entire time.
Which is really funny because the mayor's bald.
Yeah. He was getting shaved.
Sure.
And Andy's like, "Oh, Mayor, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that about your wife." And it endears me more to the mayor that he's just like, "No, you're right about my horrible wife. She is a terrible singer. I hate it so much." Like,
so they all decide that they're going to...
He's waving his little arms during this entire thing. The mayor doesn't have elbows, he just has nubs.
So Andy picks the mayor up by the shoulders and helps him out of the barber chair. There you go, little buddy.
Just goes, up. He carries him in a papoose back to the mayor's office.
And so they go to the newly established town council meeting, where they're trying to come up with some ideas to make the finale of the town fair even better.
The people there are Andy, Ellie, the other town council members, and a guy who was just trying to get a petition signed and was just like, "You're on the town council for this meeting. You get a vote."
Yeah. And so they're talking about ideas. Someone comes up with the idea of fireworks. Ellie shoots that idea down. Because if you do fireworks now, it'll take away from the edge of the 4th of July. Because, they don't live in a world where fireworks are just readily accessible all the time.
Yeah, no, they're not in the modern South where you can just throw a rock and hit fireworks.
I mean, at this point, like, I kind of agree with Ellie. We're inundated with fireworks in our modern era. Fireworks don't feel as special anymore.
I've become numb to fireworks. Yeah. They used to fill me with such wonder.
And so, eventually, Floyd comes up with the idea of a beauty pageant.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd expect Ellie to be against this, but Ellie's 100% on board. In fact, Ellie's the one who nominates a judge.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead and throw this out here. It is unfair to have a beauty pageant in a town where Eleanor Donahue lives.
Yes.
Absolutely unfair. Like,
Eleanor Donahue is unnaturally beautiful for this show. But
not for this show, just in general.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And everyone in the show immediately accepts that. Like, they're like, okay, so it's a beauty pageant where Eleanor Donahue is in the town. None of us have to feel bad about losing to her. Eleanor Donahue is in the town. Her refusing to participate throws the entire hierarchy of the town out of whack, and it's just every man for himself chaos.
Yeah, so Ellie suggests that Andy should be the judge because he's single. Right, so apparently they're not in a relationship at this point.
They're just fucking.
And he's a good judge of character, blah, blah, blah. And as they're walking away, after they vote on this, they're going to have the pageant. Andy's going to be the judge. Andy, starts to tease Ellie and says, "I saw what you did there. Don't worry. When I choose you, we'll act surprised." And Ellie, again, showing that Eleanor Donahue is the best actress on this show, gets so mad at him.
Why is she in a relationship with him? 80% of her interactions are her going, "You dick." How dare you say those words to me? She's like, "You pig-headed asshole. I could win a beauty pageant without having to rig it. How dare you?" She gets sort of disproportionately mad. It's
in fairness to Andy, she definitely gets way more mad than this deserved. But in fairness to Andy, I also kind of thought that was what was going on because there was no other reason for her to be just so freaking all in on Andy on this.
Yeah, no, she gets angrier about this beauty pageant con that he proposes than the time he tried to prevent her from voting.
You know what would have been funnier, what would have been way funnier, because that's where I thought this was going, was that she was going to be like, "I have an idea for a judge. A man who is single and will be impartial. A man who's a great judge of character. A man with high moral standing. Barney Fife." That's where I thought the episode was going.
Barney Fife is not single. Barney Fife is, I'm pretty sure, in some sort of polyamorous relationship with 6 supermodels. I think Barney Fife, is yeah.
Alright, so this is the setup, basically. Now Andy's in charge of this beauty pageant. He cannot choose Ellie because Ellie's not even running.
Ellie is so outraged by his suggestion of fixing it that she refuses to do it altogether.
Yeah. So Andy goes home, And as he is, like, preparing, just hanging out with Aunt Bee and Opie, everyone starts to get on his case. Even Aunt Bee is just like, you need to get Ellie in this because it's going to solve all your problems.
Suddenly, and Andy's general reaction is like, yeah, no, I'm aware that would be perfect. Like, he's like, I'm doing the best I can on this.
Yeah, so suddenly, another woman, I'm gonna say Meredith is something like that, or like an older woman comes in with her daughter, and is like, hi, we came to, like, borrow a cup of sugar.
It's a great bit.
Yeah, and this young woman, like, parades around in a full, like, curtsy mode.
She does poses, like, throughout the house. Like,
yeah, and Andy's very confused by this. Send her to the kitchen, and I want to give Aunt Bee a good moment here, because this older woman comes in and sits down, and Aunt Bee has the line, like, well, Meredith, why don't you sit down for a bit? And she delivers it immediately after the woman has sat down, because Aunt Bee's just giving a, I can't believe this shit face the entire time.
The best part is the woman is like, can you believe that my daughter no longer has any of her baby fat at 19? Super weird thing. And Andy follows that up by being like, yeah, I just noticed that she doesn't have fat knees anymore. It's like, holy shit. Like, way to somehow take an insane thing for a person to brag about and be weird and shitty about it.
No, you know what? I'm gonna defend Andy on this one. I am. And there goes our entire female listenership. No, I'm gonna defend Andy because he, at this point, is realizing that he is in a shitty situation. Like, this is the face of a man who's just like, oh, I know how the next couple of days of my life are gonna be, so I'm gonna Bobby Fleet this shit.
I guess he can just say whatever the fuck he wants about, like, anyone in the town. Like,
look, we can't praise Bobby Fleet for roasting the entire town and also condemn Andy for doing this.
Bobby Fleet called the town ugly. Andy calls each and every woman ugly about very specific features of their bodies.
Also, he, like, just a minute ago said he thinks that all women are beautiful, which is really weird.
Yeah, no, he thinks all women are beautiful except their faces, knees, elbows, arms, general body shape, and noses. But
it's just, like, that's what the judge of a beauty pageant does.
I know, yeah, no, it just illustrates how fucked up Andy is.
Stupid and fucked.
Andy is the perfect person for this beauty pageant, not for the good reason Ellie says, but because, like, when someone was like, hey, here's my pretty daughter, Andy's like, oh yeah, she's very nice. Her neck is weird. Like again,
that's what they called on him to do.
I didn't even know you could call someone's knees fat. I didn't know that was a valid insult.
It's something you say about babies.
Yeah,
look at your baby with the fat little knees.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a baby fat thing. Whatever. So this woman leaves, and then another young girl comes in.
No! This woman leaves, and then as the blonde daughter is being led out by her mom, she's like, "Do we still have to take the sugar?" Like,
yeah,
she's
right.
Like, shut up, go.
And then, like, another, like, young blonde girl with a parasol and hauling a bag of peat moss around.
Yes.
Like.
Just, like making a big show of, like, effortlessly flinging it around, like, over her shoulder, down, back over her shoulder.
Which kind of makes me wonder, what do these girls think a beauty contest is?
I think, was it just walking around voguing with, like, various, like, things?
But does she think she's going to, like, an athletic competition? Does this girl think that it's like a weightlifting?
It's the most impressive thing anyone does in this entire episode.
She can lift a bag, like a 5-pound bag of peat moss.
That woman whips a bag of peat moss around.
Peat moss,
yeah, that looked heavy. I could not have done that.
Yeah. I mean, good for her. And then that's where Andy says the line you said earlier, like, well, I can't give her much for looks, but she got the muscles. The whole time, by the way, Opie.
The girl is also in the room when he says that.
No, she just left.
Oh, did she just leave?
She just left.
I thought she was just slightly out of frame, and I was expecting her to just yell like, okay, well, screw you. Sorry for putting myself out there. I'm gonna go.
So, the whole time, by the way, Opie is advocating for a girl from his class, Mary Wiggins. He's advocating for Mary Wiggins.
I initially thought this was an I thought Opie's claim was legitimate, and this was an all ages beauty pageant.
Yeah, for a second I thought that too.
Little Miss Sunshine was intermingled with Miss Universe, and I was like, oh, this is a next level kind of fucked. This is creepy on a way that we got rid of a long time ago.
But fortunately, Mary Wiggins is ineligible on grounds that she's in the first grade.
Yes.
But it's not going to keep Opie from, trying.
Opie campaigns hard, and is, Opie is relentless in campaigning for, basically he's just trying to get this girl as his girlfriend and, really digging into his dad to make it happen.
I gotta say, because he does bring Mary Wiggins in a later scene, and, that is a cute little kid. She's adorable. She smiles. She's got, the missing... It was definitely some, that... It's probably, like Julie Sweeney.
Yeah.
It was definitely, a producer's daughter.
She has no speaking lines.
She has no speaking lines. She just kind of smiles and, isn't pigtails. I'm like, this is a cute little kid. Also, way bigger than Opie.
Oh,
yeah.
Very not large in terms...
For a child, she's a...
She's sprouted up.
Yeah, she's sprouted up. And, good for you, Opie. Opie doesn't, conform to your traditional beauty standards.
Yeah. Opie dates women taller than him.
Yeah.
Man, Opie is, Opie is young and really, making moves. Opie has had, 3 girlfriends so far. And he's going on his 4th.
Yeah. Yeah. So...
Opie is Dad, I'm trying to lock this down. Can you
throw me a bone here, baby?
Yeah, come on, old man.
Come on, Dad.
Yeah.
All right. So there's this moment. This keeps happening. He's surrounded. There's a Hard Day's Night kind of moment. I like this shot. It's a really cool dolly shot where we move along with Andy down the street at a pretty fast pace. The camera does, and there's all these people clamoring behind him. It really does remind me of a Hard Day's Night where the people are chasing the Beatles. And he ducks into the jailhouse. He calls Ellie to apologize. We don't see the other end of the telephone conversation.
Yeah.
But he calls Ellie and he says, first of all, I was wrong. I apologize. I'm very sorry for that. Second of all, can you help me here? Can you join this beauty pageant? It's going to make me... Third of all, hello?
Yeah.
Hello? She hung it up.
And then he starts talking to himself and he's like, alright, well thank you, lady druggist. Let's see if you get anything the next time you need a favor from me. Oh, goodbye, Ellie. She was still on the line. No.
I don't think she was still on the line.
I thought that was what I took away.
No, the way I interpreted that scene was because when he's yelling at himself at the phone, Mrs. Bishop comes in. He realizes that there's somebody there, and he realizes that there's somebody there who sees him yelling to himself. So he pretends that Ellie's on the line and everything's good.
I thought my takeaway was Ellie hadn't hung up yet, so she heard him screaming at her.
Oh.
Both
are funny. Both work. You can watch the episode on Amazon Prime or Netflix and tell us what you think. Email us at breakingmayberry@gmail.com or tweet at us at breakmayberry. Moving on. The door opens and there's an older woman named Mrs. Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Bishop is going to talk to him about the pageant, and he says, oh God, do you want me to name you too? She's like, no, I'm past all that, but I can help you.
Mm.
And she volunteers to help everything and start making pageant gowns and directing the play or whatever. And Andy's like, oh, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Thank you. Someone else is going to bail me out.
And then Floyd rolls through, and Floyd is like, hey, I also want to help. I'm going to write a song. I've got this part so far, and he just sort of meanders out some vague. He basically just oh Mayberry, and Andy's like, yeah, that's the beginning of a good song. He's just relieved that someone's leaving him alone, and he's like, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a masterpiece. Just do it, Floyd. We'll put it in, whatever.
So
is the next thing the conversation with the mayor?
Yeah, and then the mayor comes in.
The mayor
comes in and he's basically like, well, Andy, I'm really sorry you're going through all this. We won't pressure you. We don't care which of our 3 daughters you pick.
Which, again, the creepiness of it, where the mayor is like, Andy, I trust you to pick which of my daughters you find the hottest. Why do you want this? It's the fact that there's a single judge emphasizes the creepiness of beauty pageants Because normally it's just like, well, cumulatively, these 3 judges are deciding which of these people is the hottest. When it's one dude, it's so much creepier.
You know, if it's not, they had to have Ellie nominate him, because otherwise this would have been so much weirder. Because I'm going to go in a dark direction with this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're talking about the South.
Yeah.
We're talking about girls probably between the ages of 14 and 18.
Yeah.
And we are talking about an older, single, eligible sheriff with high standing in the community.
Oh, God. They emphasize his singleness.
Yeah. They are basically, like, auditioning to be child brides for Andy at this point. Like,
it really has that feeling. Like, they're not, like, coming by and auditioning their daughters as, like, here's this woman that is unavailable to you that you are judging on objective beauty. They're like, hey, here's my hot daughter, Andy Griffith. Like, what you think about this daughter of mine? Yeah, no, it's... Because, like, we're like in a fucking Roy Moore situation at this point, right? Like, if Andy was like, this is the winner, and she's gonna go home with me, like, the community would be like, okay. Yeah, like, we're flattered about it. That's the price of this W. You're like, yeah, we'll take it. Like,
it's really fucking weird. But Andy Griffith, not that kind of man, you know.
Yeah.
But it does, like, there is kind of that undertone to it.
It's you know what is also weird? Andy Griffith is very outraged about the concept of fixing a beauty pageant. Why is this Andy Griffith's moral line? He has been so flexible with the law and honor and morality. Why is he'll frame a man for armed robbery and he won't fix a beauty pageant, and he acts like his reaction to fixing a beauty pageant is as if you'd asked him to frame a man for armed robbery. His moral reaction is so all over the map. Like,
why is this guy our moral standard?
He's deeply offended at the concept of rigging a beauty pageant. And putting aside the fact that he offered to do that at the beginning of the episode, like, and beyond that, like,
that's true.
You've done like 2 criminal conspiracies so far.
You know what it is? He doesn't like the idea of fixing... It's not that he doesn't like the idea of fixing a beauty pageant. It's that if he's going to fix a beauty pageant, it's going to be on his terms, and it's going to be so that he gets some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he'll only fix that beauty pageant for Ellie.
Yeah.
And he very specifically tells Ellie, like, please join. So, Andy takes a trip over to the auditorium, I guess. Yeah. Where Mrs. Bishop is doing a lot of work for him.
Mrs. Bishop is not just doing a lot of work for him, it's kind of a neat thing where Mrs. Bishop has dropped her sweetness persona, and she is like, one more time! I need to see passion in this. This is a tribute to Mayberry. You people just founded this town. I need you to perform. Like,
yeah, she's whipping them into shape. So
she's the dude from Black Swan. She's like, attack it, attack it, attack it.
She is J.K. Simmons in Whiplash.
Yes!
Like,
she is tearing into Floyd and the other performers doing this shitty pageant.
Yeah, so they're putting on this pageant, like, about the founding of Mayberry. It's really funny, like, watching Floyd botch his lines and stuff. Like, it's a good bit. Floyd reveals that he's written his song for Miss Mayberry, which is literally just "O Tannenbaum" / "O Christmas Tree."
Yeah.
Oh, Mayberry... It's like, hail to thee, Miss Mayberry.
Is the joke that the song sucks? Because it's...
I have no idea.
Yeah. Because it's not like comedically bad. It's just a deeply mediocre song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if I heard this at, like, a local event, like, if I went to my hometown and heard this song at a pageant, I'd be like, yeah, that's about right.
I mean, I would have the response of, is this "O Christmas Tree"?
Yeah.
And then I would move on.
Yeah. They do the song like 4 times. I don't totally understand what the joke of it is.
Yeah. And then Andy's like, well, gotta tell you, Floyd, it's really nice to have somebody just helping out without ulterior motives. And Floyd's like, so by the way, I have a daughter.
Floyd has been playing the long game Floyd waited until the perfect moment to strike.
So we finally get to... He denies Floyd, and we finally get to the pageant. We don't actually see the pageant.
But he denies Floyd in a way that he is at the end of his rope. He was like, I thought you, of all people. Like,
I thought you were different.
You were all I had.
And he shouldn't have thought that based on literally every experience we've had with Floyd so far.
And Floyd was basically like, listen, I made a lot of promises to my niece. You can't, like, I need this.
You owe me for the shoes.
Yeah, I am calling. You destroyed my family financially. My wife will leave me if I don't get this for my niece. You come through for me on this, man. I need a favor.
You owe me. You owe me.
I have been a pawn in your game too many times, Andy Griffith.
Alright, so we get to the pageant, which we don't actually see. Like, kind of the next scene, like, it's the end of the pageant. It's just all these girls standing up there. The announcer, I guess, it's the mayor that's announcing, and he's, like, reading the list of names, and then he reads, and our next contestant, Ellie Walker!
Yeah.
Who put Ellie's name in there?
I think the thing was Aunt B put it in.
Oh.
And she's, like, glaring daggers at Andy Griffith because she thinks he did it.
It's like Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, man. Like, he's not supposed to... And she's just, like, she, like, gets right up in his face. Again, a very good shot. Bob Sweeney really coming into himself as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Gets right up in his face and is just like, this was not my idea. And if you pick me, I'll never speak to you again.
Again, she brings so much intensity to this very mild situation.
Yeah. That's Eleanor Donahue, baby. That's what you get when you get Eleanor Donahue on stage.
Where the fuck was Eleanor Donahue? Why have I not heard of her until this show? Like, she rules.
She rules. She kicks ass.
Yeah, she's too, like, she should have been acting opposite Humphrey Bogart.
I feel like she should have been taking, like, roles that Natalie Wood was taking. Like, she was...
She, they gave her scenes where she was just selling a root beer float to someone, and she, like, tore into them.
Andy obviously has not made a judgment. He steps up to the plate, and to the mic, and he
just starts, like, meandering.
He starts to meander, and he starts to mutter, and he's like, well, beauty! What is beauty? Webster's Dictionary defines beauty as...
No, he does this shitty wedding toast. Like, before we decide who the winner is, we should really discuss what is beauty. There's external beauty, which I think we can all see. But what is internal beauty? And then he's his eyes are darting wildly around.
By that point, he's already made his decision. Because he sees Miss Bishop, who is just like, still, like, literally she stopped playing the piano and went back to sewing the robe.
Yeah.
Like, she's doing so much work for this. So she just finished the robe that's supposed to go for the beauty pageant winner. And Andy does that thing like, well, you know what? There's also inner beauty. And so he decides to, he brings Miss Bishop on, and he basically says, I'm going to give this to the one person in this entire town who did not give me shit. And he crowns Miss Bishop, Miss Mayberry.
The best thing would have been if right after he puts the crown and robe on her, if she had just been like, that's how you do it! That is how you get it! You think you played the long game, Floyd? This is the long game!
Oh my
Miss
God.
Mayberry, motherfuckers!
If the Andy Griffith Show was just a series of elderly women just taking Andy Griffith to fucking task, it would be the greatest show of all time.
Every episode of the Andy Griffith Show is one scene of someone going like, yeah! Like, away from being incredible. Like...
But that's not the show we have. What we have is the Andy Griffith Show, where Miss Bishop is rewarded for her kind heart and her volunteering and her talent and her generosity. And I gotta be honest, it's really sweet when she, like, almost tears up a little bit when she gets to the crown and stuff. It's a very sweet moment. And like I said, that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get it. This is the Andy Griffith Show.
After that, everything just sort of locks into place. Like, Ellie, like, embraces him, is like, you made the right choice.
All of the girls start crying. You can't hear...
That is the freaky thing. All of the girls weep they don't start crying. They weep hysterically. They start screaming,
moaning and gnashing of teeth.
Like they start like waving their arms. It's like collective madness. Like,
yeah. So Floyd tries to sing his song, but he can't be heard over the crying. whatever. The entire town is just like, this bullshit.
Yeah, no, the entire town dissolves into chaos. Why did they do this?
This is the last beauty pageant that Andy's ever going to judge.
This is the last beauty pageant. Like, beauty pageants should be illegal in Mayberry after this. Because, like, one woman feels kind of good about herself, and then, like, half the female population of Mayberry is on suicide watch for 3 weeks.
Yeah, can we talk about how, like, every woman in Mayberry is either 16 or 75?
That feels pretty accurate for the South.
Yeah.
But, like, the level of despondent they are, like, we're not exaggerating on this. The level of despondent these women are is batshit.
So the epilogue is, we've returned to Floyd's. Andy is reading Floyd a newspaper article that mentions how good his song was, because the Mayberry Gazette is not exactly discerning critics. Opie enters with Mary.
It's a nice little scene. He brings in the girl that he wanted to win, and Andy gives her, like, a little fake, ceremony. Like,
yeah, he makes a crown out of taking Floyd's hat and turning it upside down.
Yeah.
And this is, like, in part to make Mary feel good about herself, but also to shut Opie up.
Yeah.
Because Opie's like, I still think Mary should have won. And so he crowns her Miss Mayberry Jr., which I think just probably is going to come back and bite him in the ass, because now he's going to have a whole second frickin' thing to judge next year. But puts her up on the pedestal that is the barber's chair, gives her the fake hat. Floyd sings his song, Hail to Z, Miss Mayberry, and end the scene.
I mean, again, it's not Andy getting pitchforked, because what he should have done is be like, hey, now you don't need a contest to validate your qualities as a human being, but no one in this entire show understands that, so I can't super fault him for not having that realization. Yeah. This, like, a beauty contest is treated as completely valid and totally a good idea throughout the entire thing. Like,
not only the valid and a good idea, like, the most exciting thing that's happened to these young girls' lives.
Yeah. Which, again, they just get shit-talking rights over the other women in town. Like, they don't get, like, a modeling contract in New York or any shit. But yeah, no, nice, like, wholesome moment. It does sort of, like, click into places like the Andy Griffith that we, like, hear, like...
this is the beginning of where that Andy Griffith idea comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so let's do some episode ratings.
Okay, so those Gossiping Men, again, I hated it initially, and then the second time...
It grows on you.
It really does. I sort of, like, sleptwalked through the first watch of it. I guess 6?
6 Andys. 6 Andys feels about right to me.
Moral repugnancy. So
nothing's really that like gross or like weird about
sexism. There's Andy drops some sexism that he isn't.
But he's totally reprimanded for it.
Yeah. So I think low. I think a 1 or 2.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So 5. So Andy's we're gonna say 6. 5 we're gonna say 1.
It's like Andy the horse trader in that Andy does something fucked up, but unlike other episodes, he is punished proportionally to how much he fucks up.
Okay, so now let's move on to doing the beauty contest. And I'm going to do the FIFO-meter first, because this is hard to discern.
Oh my god.
Because, like, the moral repugnancy of this is kind of just the moral repugnancy of beauty contests in general.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing that Andy does. Andy actually does the right thing throughout this entire thing. Andy
doesn't explicitly do anything wrong, but again...
The whole situation is kind of screwed.
The entire show illustrates why beauty contests are stupid, but then doesn't draw that conclusion. Like, it gets so close. It gets, like, right up to it. It's like, a lot of weird, bad shit happens as a result of them deciding to do a beauty contest. We're gonna solve this by giving an old lady the crown. I think we solved it?
I'm gonna say 3 5s.
3 5s, yeah.
How good is this episode? I love this episode. It's up there. I'm gonna give it an 8, maybe a 9.
I kind of dug it. I'll say 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In terms of, like, should you watch both of these? I'd say, like, both of these are like a soft watch. Like check them out. They're like they're moderately entertaining. They're like good to have on in the background.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that.
They don't have the what the fuck factor.
I'm gonna lean a little harder on the beauty contest.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you can watch them both on Netflix, Amazon, probably on YouTube. So if you like listening to us, you should like us, subscribe. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow us on Twitter at Break Mayberry. Follow Ron Howard on Twitter at Real Ron Howard. As always, please tweet to Ron Howard.
Tweet at Ron Howard, not specifically about our show. If mentions about our show get in there, awesome. Like, if they come in organically, we don't want you to force it, because it feels like advertising, but just like...
But you should just tweet at Ron Howard, and this week, I think you should tell Ron Howard your favorite recipe for punch. Alcoholic or non-alcoholic. Ron Howard might be having a party, and you can help him out.
Again, solo doesn't suck, apparently. So Ron Howard's probably in a pretty good mood. Catch him on that good mood. Try to be a part of it.
Yeah. Hashtag tweet at Ron Howard.
Hashtag tweet at Ron Howard.
That way we can go look at them. Yeah.
Yes.
Please, again, like, subscribe, rate. Those ratings and reviews really help us, guys. That's what gets us into search results. Mm-hmm. So if you like what we're doing, please give us the ratings and things. You can follow me on the internet. I am on Twitter at Schneid Remarks. That's SCHNEID Remarks.
I'm at the Luds.
I'm not going to do it this time.
I'm not going to tell you how to spell it. Find it. You can infer from, like, the way I'm saying it how many D's are in the name.
This is why you only have 50 followers.
Yes! Also because I tweet weird, dumb bullshit.
Our music was done by Max Ludwig, who you can follow on Twitter at Sleep Talkie. Our logo is Emily Christina, who is on Instagram at ScribbleEmily. Mm-hmm. All of that stuff is in our notes. So next episode is, I think the next one is Alcohol and Old Lace. Yeah, the next episode we're going to dedicate entirely to one episode. It's nuts,
watch
guys.
Listen. Watch it. Because it is straight up a modern, like, for a brief period in time, the Andy Griffith Show travels to the early 2000s and is a gritty crime drama and then comes back. Like,
that is episode 17 of season 1, Alcohol and Old Lace. We're going to be talking about that in our next episode. Yeah, go watch it. Watch it in advance. That's the first time I'll ever say this.
No, absolutely. Like, absolutely. Like, you want to experience the white-knuckle thrill ride that is Alcohol and Old Lace.
I'm Marty Schneider. This is Dan Ludwig. We will see y'all down at the fishing hole. So that's what we're getting into this episode. Do we have any house cleaning? I think we're good. You can
motherfuckers aren't sending in fan art anymore.
Yeah, we need some tweets. I mean, actually, thank you to everybody who has tweeted at us so far and sent us some stuff.
No fan art though.
No fan art.
I've developed standards now. I've become accustomed to a certain standard of fandom.
We need to put our faces up on the website so that we can get the good stuff.
Horrible idea.